Hey everyone, the numbers are in for the PCB Gulfront market for January 2021. I'm Craig Duran with the Duran Group over at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. Wanted to do our January update a little bit different this month. We're going to go through some of the data to show you what's been happening in the market since the beginning of the year. But one thing's really bothering me about what I'm seeing in the market over and over again. And frankly, I think sellers in general are leaving a little too much money on the table. We're continuing, you may hear stories. I'm hearing a lot of them of a unit going up for sale on the market and maybe having 5 offers, 7 offers in 24 hours, under contract in 2 days, things like that. And I have a real problem with that in some cases, not all cases. I just think that we need to take a really hard look at pricing in the kind of market that we're in. We're in an extremely hot market right now. And so I wanted to go through something with you. And this has happened to me probably 4 times in the last 30 days. But I want to go specifically through a scenario and show you what I think is really a better way, or really the right way, to get a condo exposed to the market, get the marketing done right. And in this case, it ended up being $35,000 more to the seller. So I want to take you through. I've never done this before, and 17 years of doing this. I've talked about it a lot in when I'm meeting with people who want to sell, but I just want to try to help as many people as I can. So if you know anybody who's thinking about selling this year, or you're ever going to sell a condo in any market, just take notes on this and remember when it's time for you or your friend or your family member to get into selling something. Maybe there's a couple tips you can learn from this. So let's start. First of all, I'm going to talk about a condo that we listed for sale on October 27th of last year. The asking price was $534,900. And just very briefly, I want to show you what this is. All the same floor plan in the same building, and I want to show you where all the sales were happening. Let me see here. I've got this organized by price wrong. Let me get these. So in the last 120 days of this floor plan in this building, here's where the sales were happening. We've had 18 sales in there. So closings were happening. Now remember, a couple things are happening when we're going to look at pricing. A number of units in especially the newer buildings right now haven't been touched since 2006. They may have original flooring, countertops, all those things. And some units have been mildly renovated, and some have been massively renovated. And so you're going to see that reflected in the pricing. But just take notes on what's happening in the pricing here, because the point of all this is to show you just how patience can affect a sales price. So we had sales from 455, 456. In fact, I worked on that one. 458, 460, 460, 460. These are all the same floor plan. Last 4 months. Today's February 10th, so I'm going back to January 10th, December 10th, November 10th, October 10th. We listed the unit I'm talking about October 27th. So here we are again, pricing 460, 465, 472, 495, 499. And now notice, as we're getting into some higher prices, I want you to pay attention to 2 things. And I can send you all this information if you really wanted to dig into it more than I'm going to. But you're going to see that some of the lower floor units are going to creep in. Sometimes lower floor units can garner a premium. And you're going to start to see, you can't really tell because I'm not going to click on each photo, but a lot of these were more dramatically updated. This unit was very nicely updated. This one you can even see if you really zoom in and look at this picture. Some interesting things done with shiplap, and the kitchen was redone. So now you're at 504, 507, 500. Again, lower floor 510. 510, we're getting into some units that are in nice condition. Lower floor 515, lower floor 525, lower floor and upgraded, lower floor and severely upgraded 535, lower floor severely upgraded 542, 500. Same floor plan, same 1,226 square feet, not 1,223, but from 455,000 to 542,500 in a 4-month period. The same floor plan, almost a $100,000 spread in pricing. And so obviously there are going to be a lot of opinion, a lot of perspective on where the price should be for a unit. So let's take a look now at what happened with this one. So we were listed on October 27th, 534.9. I've kind of shown you where the price ranges have been. So take a look at what's happened in showings for this particular unit. We use a system that tracks everything so we can know what's happening. I'm going to show you a few things on this page. So first of all, here is how the showing process works. A lot of these condos are vacation rentals or have snowbirds this time of year. So plenty of showings are requested and don't work. Plenty of showings are requested and do work. So throughout the process, look at how many showings were requested. Let me go back to the beginning. So new listing. We had a showing that didn't work out with a tenant on this particular day from scheduling. Here are some other showings that happened. Here are a couple that were unconfirmed by the agent. We're going to talk about the price change in a minute. But look at all the green checks for showings. Here are a number of declined showings because of what happened with the tenant around a couple of certain days where there was some requests. So if we look at this just chronologically, we had a couple of showings in November. And I think here's running through November, December. Now remember, December this year was a little bit softer across the board in the condo market, but this unit got 2 showings in November. Didn't have any showings the next week. The next week they had one showing the following week. This is by week. One showing the following week. No showings around Christmas time. Picked up right after that. We had a couple of showings. And then now this week we had a jump. We had 5 showings. And take a look at what happened that week. We reduced the price. But we only reduced the price, and I should have written this in here. We only reduced the price to $529,900. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Let me show you some of the feedback first. So we still had 5 showings. We still had another showing the next week, 3 more showings the following week, 1 more showing the following week. We're going to show you how we got to contract in just a minute. But look at what the people were saying as they were looking at this particular unit. This one from January 31st is a customer interested in the property, maybe, but they couldn't get in. This one they were very interested. This was on the 23rd. This was the favorite units of the buyer. It's their first investment property. I think this is the one that actually went to contract. Look at some of the other showings though. Customer wants a lower floor, didn't realize it till we're in there. This is a very common thing for some buyers to walk into a unit. They think they like it. Once they get in and they see how high it is, they just want lower. So this one for them at the asking price wasn't going to work. Here's another one. This is some really good feedback here. I showed unit 2004 along with 2008. I felt 2008 was in better condition with additional upgrades and price less. What was their opinion of the price? They felt it was high compared to the others. Didn't like that it backed up to the elevator. They have rented in a unit like that and heard it clicking all night. Price it a bit lower was the recommendation. And this was after our price rejection. Here's some other feedback. Somewhat not interested. The price was too high. Never showed it. They decided to go into a different building. That's just some of the feedback that came back. Now, remember, plenty of people that don't even give feedback obviously weren't interested in the unit. So now think about this from a timeline or a chronological perspective. So we started on October 27th, and we had showings throughout the month of November and December, mixed bag on feedback, no one terribly interested. And then here's what happened on offers. We did get one offer, December 6th. We got an offer for $470,000. And remember our pricing, that was well into where it was above what some other units had closed. This particular seller was very patient. This is one of the things I want to stress today. In this kind of market, you can be patient and let the market work in your favor. $470,000 offer, it didn't work out. January 31st, $480,000 offer. Just by waiting a little over a month, there was 10,000 more. We also had 3 verbal offers. This is also common in this market. Agents, I don't know if it's the agents are lazy or if buyers don't really understand the process, but submitting an offer via text message or email or on the phone, it just isn't going to get it. That may work on $1 million listing on TV, but a seller isn't going to really react to a offer seriously until they have something in writing. There are too many terms to talk about. And so we had 3 other offers in January that were between $460,000 and $475,000. So here's this seller $470,000 to $475,000 in offers, 5 different scenarios over a 2-month period. Still remained patient. We changed the price on January 5th. You saw the spike in showing activity. 5 people immediately ran to get to it, but he didn't overreact. He didn't go to 534. He didn't go from 534,900 to 525 or 519. That was part of the conversation. He was patient, went to 529.9. After one of these verbal offers in early February, he was finally tired of getting offers that were low. He had a number that he wanted to get, and he said, listen, Craig, if anything comes under 510,000, you have the authority to just reject it and not present it to me. I got a call. It was interesting timing. We got a call the next day that an agent called and said, hey, we're interested in writing an offer. We're thinking about writing an offer at 510. Patience for really just 75, 90 days. And we're now $30,000 higher than the most recent offer that we've had. Long story short, you can see it here. We limited the price, the lowest, the minimum bid that we would accept. We got a written offer the very next day at 510. A couple days later, we actually countered it, tightened up some terms, and got a little bit more money. $515,000 contract, $35,000 more than the previous highest offer in this period. Now, look at the timeline we're talking about again. February, I'm on February 10th now. That happened on February 5th. We only listed it on October 27th. We're very, very obsessed right now with everything happening so fast. You know, we have 24-hour news. We have social media that, hey, did you hear that this is coming? Did you hear that this just happened? Oh, this just happened, and you find out about it 7 seconds later. And I think what we're seeing in the market is translating, and we're seeing that translate into real estate somewhat, where a seller puts a condo up on the market and now sits back and is expecting we need to have this sold right away. I think we're starting to get conditioned for things to happen very quickly. Remember, if you've seen some of these previous videos, my months of inventory that I always talk about, 5 or 6 months is the traditional timeline it takes to work through the process. It takes even with the internet, even with great digital marketing, it takes 2 or 3 weeks at best to get great photos and videos and media assets put together, put out into the universe, and for people to absorb that. Remember, a lot of these buyers are in other parts of the country. Plenty of them are on watch lists and are looking for things, but they have to make decisions about traveling into town. They have to get in touch with an agent to see if they want to make an offer. All those things take time. So the people who jump on something in 24 hours, kudos to them that they're watching and ready to move quickly, because that's important if you're buying. But for sellers, giving it time for the messaging to get out into the market, especially during the holidays. Think about how busy people are during the holidays. Think about how busy people were during the holidays during the pandemic and the limitations that are there. The seller was patient, worked through the process, also knew that the market was working in their favor. I'm going to show you that next, and ended up with $35,000 more than an offer that came earlier. I'm back to 5 years ago, 8 years ago. If you had 3 or 4 or 5 offers in 24 hours, I think that was some really nice, good marketing. Maybe you had an extremely good product. Maybe the pricing was just right on. Right now, when you're looking at sales from the last 2, 3 months, 4 months, you're looking at ancient history. And pricing in this market means pricing aggressively. Buyers are motivated. And let me show you just how hot the market is. Remember, I'm going back to my months of inventory chart here. This is for the entire Gulfront condo market. The red line represents the number of units that are for sale. Look at what's happened since March of last year. Every month, almost. We had a little spike here, but every month there are fewer and fewer and fewer units for sale. The black line, look at this. More and more and more sales are happening. In fact, they almost converge right here. And look back to my months of inventory. This is really important. I can't stress this enough. So in May, the overall condo market, well, let's go to April. Right after the pandemic hit in March, April, we were at 9 months of inventory, meaning it would take 9 months to sell everything we had for sale, if nothing else came up for sale. By May, we had recovered to 7 months of inventory, but look how hot the condo market's been. June, 3 months of inventory. July and August, 2 months of inventory. Since September, we've been under 2 months of inventory all the way through January. That means if a condo comes on the market, theoretically, it's closed in less than 2 months. That means marketing's done, contracts are negotiated, and there's a closing. If there's a loan involved right now, banks are taking 30 to 45 days to close a loan. So that 2 months of inventory number on an average across the board means that people are taking contracts and accepting contracts in 1 and 2 weeks. I really challenge you to think about pricing in this market and understanding where we are in terms of what I just showed you on that chart, where we are in terms of the season right now, where we are in terms of buyers are extremely motivated to buy condos right now. We should be looking at pricing, looking at and it all depends on your situation. I understand you may be looking to sell to do something else with the funds. You may have a plan, and I understand that timing sometimes 1 and 2 weeks to contract is a good thing. I'm not arguing that point necessarily, but just be sure that you're thinking about pricing in a market that's extremely dramatic. We should be pricing aggressively and be patient. Again, we're so used to things happening quickly in our lives these days. Real estate doesn't need to happen that fast to still have a successful outcome. And when you can start talking about $35,000 more for, what was that, 90 days or something like that, it really can make a difference. So I hope you understand that. For those of you looking for specific sales that happened in January, I know a lot of you that watch this are getting mailers from us. We have some updates there. A lot of you are already on our e-alert system, so you're already getting that information. Next month, I'll be back with a normal wrap up and go through your building, give you the specific sales for January and February, since I didn't do it this month. But I just really wanted to share this with you because I'm seeing over and over and over again, in my opinion, people leaving a little too much money on the table. Hope you guys found this helpful. Again, I'm Craig Duran with the Duran Group at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. We'll be in touch next month. Thanks, guys.